this micro course, providing you with best practice skills and know-how. This session is given to you by the Van Haren Group, your partner to enable best practice learning. With your host, Maurits van der Plas.
Hello, good afternoon or morning, wherever you're calling from. Welcome to this session about data literacy. I'm here with Ben de Jong. Hi, hello Ben.
Hi, Maurits, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here in this session.
Yeah.
So Ben is an expert in data literacy, if I may say so. Ben, you work for roughly 24 years with ABN AMRO Bank, for over 10 years in data literacy, are a trainer and author in data literacy. And before we start, maybe you can tell us how you got into this field. How come you got an interest into the subject of data literacy?
Yes, I can tell you that. A few years back, I was working on a refinement of our style guide for data visualization. And with the person I was working on it, we came across the thing that data visualization is, well, a later stage in the whole flow of data, and that people should know how to read those charts. And when we dive into that, we came to data literacy as a field of work, and also with a nice definition. And the definition I will share with you later on. And from that, we went into it and find a lot of stuff that was so very interesting that we wrote a presentation. We made a presentation for 1 hour, which became a training of 2 days. And this 2-day training is also provided by Van Haren. So that was a journey. That is, I think, 2020, 2019 that we started. So, yeah.
Yeah, nice. And so now you're involved with the CSRD within the ABN AMRO Bank with the Sustainability Directive, and also the involvement of data there and data literacy. Does data literacy also have relationships to what you're doing there with ABN AMRO Bank now?
Within the bank we have, because all our IT engineers and data analysts should have this knowledge of data literacy, and I have a role in it to provide it to them. But I'm now working on a sustainability department within the bank, and especially on ESG data. So in this micro course today, I will touch upon a few examples of sustainability, of course, because it should be coming along in this in this workshop. And we're building up a data domain for all our ESG data within the bank, and that is enormous. So we just start working on it. So we're gathering and data literacy is a part, but less a part of my current job within the bank.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. Then, I will give you the stage. For those who are joining, this is a 1-hour session. There will be some questions in between the sessions, so feel free to react and respond in the chat. And then I'll give the stage to you, Ben. Take it away.
Thanks. And if you have any questions, because I cannot see them, Maurits, you will jump in and share them. Okay.
Yeah,
well, welcome. Yep. Okay. Well, welcome to the session, data literacy, and just to go a little bit back, we from the Effective Data Foundation provide this training, and we are a collective who leverage professionals more knowledge about data, and it's all about data analysis, literacy, management, and visualization. Well, a few things I came across in the introduction already, but it is something that we do from the EDF, and we provide these things. I was mentioning the definition of data literacy when we started, and we came across this one: the ability to read, to work with, and analyze and argue with data. And it's not for us, but it's from some people from MIT and Emerson College. And well, this was something we really found attractive because it was tangible, explainable, and especially for people. And that was we thought. So it's not about architecture or structure or all those kind of things, more related to data and how we can work with data. So that's how we started. I think I shared last week, the last 7 days, I post on English on LinkedIn, and they were about read data, work with data, analyze data, and argue with data. So I hope you can recall these pictures that I shared. Of course, nicely made with JetGPT, because that's also where we use data, and also there that I will touch upon later on. But our first topic is read data, and yeah, I mentioned I'm working on the sustainability department, and this is one of the most iconic visualizations that we can read out of the field. And I don't know if anybody recognize this, but this is what they call the climate stripes. And it shows the global temperature, and you see it is increased. It's made by Edward Hawkins with a nice hashtag, show your stripes. So if you want to know more about it, look on the internet and look for show for your stripes. And this is something what I can relate to data literacy, because if you see something, you see directly, hey, there's something going on. There's something with this temperature, and it's, of course, it is important to me because we live all on Earth, and we all everybody knows that the temperature is rising. We feel it every day. And yeah, this is something. It says something about it. You see it becoming red, and so the color has an influence. So all those things are there. And Edward Hawkins is a professor, so is also a reliable source. So all those things of working with data and data literacy is coming along in this example. And this example I will use through the micro course to explain you a few things that we have on part of this course: read data, work with data, analyze data, and argue with data. So if we go to the first thing, read data. Yeah, what is data? Yeah, let's start. The data is not reality. It is a reflection of the reality, like the airplane in the water. It's not the real airplane that you see, but a reflection. And what I want to say with this, that we cannot store all the data. You're in a room with colleagues, and they have the laptops, and you can count how many laptops there are in the room, but there are no details on the typical the types of the laptops, where they are, in which angle they are, if they are in power or not, and all those things. So you cannot store all the data. So it's always a reflection of the data. It doesn't say something about the quality, but more as data as a whole. So it is always a reflection of the real world and not itself. So that is something you need to be aware of. Well, the term data is there. So let's see, what is data? And we ask this always, and when we look at it, we say, yeah, the data describes a quality or a quantity of some object or event. And I mentioned in my LinkedIn post, I won't make it abstract, but yeah, let's start with something, a nice theoretical term. But let's peel it down to something and see what it means. So if you go to the first thing, well, we start with data, and it's all about the qualities, and the qualities are nominal or ordinal, and quantities are interval or ratio. Well, this is quite a theory, but let's peel the onion off one by one. And nominal data is something about a description of each something. Though, for instance, a car is brown or yellow or black. So it says something is a description of something. And ordinal is also a kind of a description, but then it has some kind of order. Like, for instance, the medals on the Olympics. You got bronze, silver medal. It's the medal is it, but it's something ordinal. There's an order in the data. And then you got the quantities, and you got the interval and the ratio. And interval data is everything which doesn't have has a 0 point that says something. For instance, temperature, 0 degrees Celsius is something, the point that the water became ice, and 100. So the 0 point is nothing. There is nothing, but it is a point in time. And ratio, there nothing. 0 means nothing. So if I don't have any coffee on my table now, so 0 means really nothing. So that is the difference between interval and ratio. But let's see. I promised some practical examples. Let's go on. With the quantities, you can, by the way, you can measure, and with qualities, you can't. So that is a big difference. You can do calculations with quantities, but you cannot do it with quality. So, for instance, with the ordinal, you cannot calculate. Well, let's start with quantity or quantity. If we have the coffee shop here, I got a nice espresso machine on. The coffee is dripping. I want to have some nominal examples. Can you describe something in the chat what you think is a nominal value when we talk about coffee?
Yeah. And I think the thing is that the term. So I'm not a data person or very smart from that matter. The term sounds challenging. I think. Nominal is a quantitative.
Now, well, let's. No, that's all right. You see here a glass cup, but you get also yellow cups or blue cups or small cups or espresso cup, cappuccino cup or latte, americano, mocha. So that is the description of you of your objects. What you want to is a description of the something that you want to use. So a large car, of a black car, a blue car, or so it's always a description of something. That is the thing.
So we got here Nick Schelleken saying the amount in centiliters.
No, that will become later because these are the things that we cannot calculate. It's only something descriptive on it. Lord, I mentioned
how dark the coffee is.
Exactly, or you got a big chair or a small chair or a blue chair or all those kind of things. So it's mainly descriptive, or more in text. Yep. Okay. Well, let's try it again. No, that is the ordinal. That is nice. You gave it away already.
No, we need data literacy.
No, that's why we're here. So for ordinal, like the coffee, you get smooth coffee, and it is really soft and nice and tasty. Then you get regular, it's more strong. And then you got the mild coffee, and it gets strong, and you got extra strong. Extra strong is black coffee, just a little bit, just like an espresso, and really strong. So that is also ordinal. So from smooth to regular to mild to strong to extra strong. That is something. Or from small to medium to large to extra large. So there are steps, but you cannot divine the how big the steps are you're making from smooth to regular. You cannot say, well, regular is 2 times as strong as smooth. So there are steps, but you cannot determine the gaps between it. But that is also, that's why it's descriptive. It is something you describe or on an object, but you cannot calculate with it. So that is the thing. We see this also. Yep.
Yeah. Here we got a suggestion from Claudia. Origin of the coffee, for example.
No, origin is the nominal because that says something about the country where it's come from. For instance, Kenya or Colombia. That is something about the nominal. So that is the descriptive one of the nominal one. So ordinal is there is an order in the data, and like I mentioned with the medals. You see the bronze medal is step 3, is position 3, and the silver is position 2, and the gold is position 1. And it doesn't say something about the. Sorry.
Yeah. So good or bad coffee. Thank you also for the input, Claudia, Nick.
Yeah.
So good coffee in case of ordinal.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
That's quite rare. Good
coffee. You go to Italy then. Okay. So. The nominal is a descriptor like the country. The ordinal is say something about good or bad coffee. And then the third thing is the interval. And it is, well, you saw somebody said about temperature of the coffee. Well, this is an interval. So a coffee should be, 80 degrees. And the difference between 80 and 85 is 5 degrees. But it's not the same as 0 to 5 because you feel something different. So the difference are 5 degrees, and you can calculate with it, but it doesn't say something about the feeling of it. And then the last thing, the ratio, that is something, that is 0. We got 10 cups of coffee, 10 espresso, 10 cappuccinos. That is really the counting of these objects. So that's what you can do. How many customers that you have, or how many coffee machines, or how many kilogram coffee beans we have in the store, those kind of things.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, thank you.
So far the quantity and the quality and the coffee. But we want to do something with it. We want to calculate, and then you come to the famous words of Michael Jordan. I didn't come here to be average. because he want to be the champion. So the thing what we do, we want to calculate with it, and what we do is, for instance, summarize or those kind of things. And well, I have another little example. Perhaps yeah, this is a small area within the Netherlands, and it is not a particular one because it's the most beautiful polder in the Netherlands. So where I live is one of the oldest polders here of the world, 1612, and it's called the Beemster, famous of his cheese and of his infrastructure of the roads. It's like almost like the same like Manhattan in New York, all straight lines and straight blocks. Um, to tell you something about the Beemster, we got 9,748 inhabitants. Complete surface is 72 square kilometers. And the average income is 27.8 thousand euros a year. I don't know if you heard the news, but there's something happening, and there are three people coming to the Beemster. Three famous people, Messi, Ronaldo, and Neymar, and that means, well,
Place to
there's a
be.
big, yeah, the place to be. But the consequence is you see it here, and the average income will rise because it will go from 27 to 85 or 58. So it's a almost a doubling of the average income. So you see three young men are coming, and I can say young men. um, they are coming to the Beemster, and they have a huge influence on the average. So what I want to do, what I want to say is, if you work with average, be aware that these things can happen. And so if you work with an average, and you read it, well, because it is about read it, you just read, ask somebody to provide you the number. Can you tell me a few things about it? Because I want to know more. And what is the mode and the median and the mean of it? Because then you can say something if the data is a normal distributed or not. Because that is something very important. If you calculate an average, these three values should be nearby each other or even or close up on each other. Then you can say the average says something about my data. This was the situation before those three famous football players coming to the Beemster. When they came, well, this happened. It's called skew data. The long tail on the right are the three men with a huge income, and they skewed our data within the Beemster. So if you have you're working on an average or a mean, please look a little bit further and ask further and ask them what is the median and what is the mode, because then you can say something if there is something happening in the data, or even better, ask for the central tendency, that is the mean and the mean and the mode and the median. Also ask what the spread is and what the shape is. The spread is the minimum and the maximum value, and the shape is where you can see how it's going. So those three things. If somebody come to you, oh, our average age of our company is, well, for instance, 44. Well, ask these questions, and then let's see if they can help you. And there's the data is not skewed. So if you read it, it's one of the most important things to know. How is the data look like, and ask for these things. Yeah, another thing with reading data is also very important to know how do we look and how do we perceive things. And well, how we look, you need to know what kind of visuals are used and what the strengths and what the weaknesses of these things are. And also, this is what we come across. And then oh, I was sorry, I was distracted. And then you know that. Okay, so you go to work with data. And work with data is our fireman. I touched upon it in my LinkedIn message, and I will come across that later. And of course, work with data is creating data manually or by machine. And which one is better? Well, automated data or manual data. Well, it depends, because it can both can do it good and can make mistakes. With manual data, you get, of course, we as human make mistakes. And the other side, machines are not so flexible. So both have the pros and the cons. But that's coming from. And then you come to the next step, and it's very important: data quality. So data is of high quality if the data is fit for purpose, for the intended purpose of the use. So if you're working with it and it is good enough for you, then the quality is okay. we will strive to 100% data quality. Well, I don't think so, because if that's so, you pay enormous price, and that price is of course in money, because you need to do so much things to go through it and make that quality super of quality, super high quality. So that is thinking you don't want to do. Yeah, and then if the data quality is all right, we come to the next point about the fireman. And last week I was in London, and Maurits, you were also there, and we saw this man presenting. And this man is Bart van Leeuwen. He's a fireman in the city of Amsterdam. And he told a really great story about his work, making decisions, and the use of data. And when he saw, he come out with the phrase, and it is this one: would you trust your life with your data? Well, everybody was quiet. And we're all together, a lot of people working in data with AI and Gen AI, and everybody was very enthusiastic. And he asked this question, and well, it was everybody was quiet and thinking, okay, is that so? Would I trust my life with my data? Well, he gave the example of, I'm going to a fire with all my men in the truck, and I am the captain of the day. I go to a fire, and then who will make the decision that I send 2 men into the building to fight this fire? And he said, I'm not convinced about the data. If they make the good decision, I think I can do it better with my experience, with my knowledge, and my gut feeling. So. And of course, this is not for all the data, but if it's really make reliable, high pressure value decisions, well, think about this sentence: would you trust your life with your data? And then you come to quality and Gen AI, and of course we heard a lot, and this phrase of Bart. I created some examples for this training, for this session. And I don't know if you mentioned it, but Maurits already came along with a message on it. If you look at the coffee machine, I will have my mouse. So you see here the coffee coming from the machine coming here, but this piston is out of the machine, because the machine is here. So there's something very strange going on in this picture. So that is the data quality kicking in with AI, and that's why you should always be aware if you use Gen AI with some things that you do and you use data. And the other thing, sorry, it was too fast. And the other thing is about the data quality, the word data quality. You see here with the fireman above, a totally misused, a misspelled word, and I tried to change it, but I couldn't change it with my ChatGPT. But on the other hand, I used it here to give you an example that you always should be aware of the data quality provided via ChatGPT or other engines like this, a Copilot or Gemini. So always be aware and check if it's all right. So, like the fireman said, I'm on the steering wheel and on the seat to steer the truck. Data is beside me to help me and guide me to the fire and provide me all kind of good data to make better decisions when I'm there and I'm going to start to fight the fire. This is a kind of a blunt thing, that data is like garbage, but you know what to do, and it's about acquiring and cleaning. So you get the data, and it is always not in the shape that you would like. You also want to do something with it, to perhaps to clean it or to restructure it, that you can use it better for your tool and also for your purpose. And when you have done that, the next thing is that you want to combine it, because you want to enrich the data. And the most famous one to enrich is, for instance, in Excel with the VLOOKUP or the XLOOKUP. I don't know, have you heard of that? VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP. It's the famous thing that you can combine data with Excel. Perhaps you should use the XLOOKUP, but well, that's another story. You want to combine data to enrich it, to give it more flavor to your data and give you more data to have some more insights and in your analysis. Then you have that all done with work with data. Then you're finished, and then you need to manage your data, because if you don't do that properly, well, you get something like this. This is a share a bike thing, and then everybody can use a bike and pick it up and put it somewhere. Well, you see, here it's a big mess. All the bikes are there, and you even don't know if they're broke or not, and you can find the right one. So if you want to do it properly, think about it and use then a system like this, for instance, what they have in Melbourne. You can always know where to find the blue bikes because they're in a parking lot. They're always nice, and you can also pick it up and you can see if they're available or not. So you need to do something with your data. Where do you store it? What for kind of naming convention do you use? Is the quality all right? Can people find it properly? Those are the things you want to do because hey, people want to rely on the quality and reuse become difficult if you don't do it right, and then perhaps the data can be corrupted if you don't do it properly, and the data is everywhere, and with such a thing like this, you can make it on a particular place. About this, there is a lot about this, and it's all in this book. I will take a sip. The DMNA book, book. Well, I don't know. It's really a big book. On the conference last week, I mentioned in London, I saw the book, and it is enormous. It's very thick, but there are good trainings out there that can help you mastering all these items based on managing your data. So it is really a proper thing to start, and if you want to know more about it.
I think this picture is taken quite well. You don't perceive the thickness of this book.
Or not. If you do it better, you can see the thickness if you want to show it. But it's really thick about it.
Misguiding data. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was surprised about the thickness also when I saw it for the first time in London. I had a PDF, but this was really something. Yeah. Okay. Then before I come to the question of this part, I go back to my example on the climate stripes. I had a nice pitted visualization, an iconic one. It started with this: data everywhere, downloads, a link to download. So if you want to, the data is everywhere because for every country they have to retrieve the data, and so they stored it, and you can download it. So yeah, this is a kind of proper way so you can find it. But this was the starting point of the development of the iconic climate stripe that I showed at the first picture. So, any questions about this topic? Maybe I'll stop. Okay.
No, yeah. So yeah, you can see the question. Exactly.
Yeah. Is it possible the quality of data with different prompts in the picture? I tried it, Nick. I asked them, can you change the word quality into the proper way of quality? And then he came with another picture, and I it was for me. I don't know if I have the proper license for it, but I couldn't change the word of quality. For instance, I tried it four times, and every time it was different. I have another example later. I tried to improve it, but yeah, perhaps my prompting skills are not good enough. That could also be the case. That I need to learn better prompting. But yeah, it was for me not possible to change it in a proper way.
Yeah, but I believe also at this stage within ChatGPT.ai, it's quite bad at text, visualizing text in the images.
Yeah.
At this stage, maybe in half a year it's better, but.
No, exactly. But the thing, thanks Nick for this question. And the thing is, of course, be aware of it. Always check it, or perhaps double check it. For instance, with the coffee machine, I didn't saw it at first sight that the piston of the coffee was outside of the coffee machine. So when I saw the data, the quality, the word in data quality in the second picture, I thought, well, let's see what he has done with the coffee machine, and then I saw it was outside the machine. So yeah, that's really strange, and I couldn't change it. Okay.
Another question, Ben?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes, you enrich the data, Ivo. So it will be you create new data, particularly. So within the bank, we have data sharing agreements if you want to use a data set of a particular department, and then you create new data, and then we send that data back to our the data marketplace what we have that you have enriched data. For instance, I have a client and we have some ESG data, climate data. We put it together and then we can put it back so everybody else can use it. So they don't need to make those ESG calculations themselves, because we have the definition, we have the data, and we provide the calculated value for GHG emission, for instance. So that will be new data. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. I think that
Okay.
were the questions so far.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's go to the third part, and that is analyze data. And yeah, what is an analysis? I like these kind of questions already, and I won't ask it you, but I will give the explanation here. It's a detailed examination of anything complex in order to understand blah blah. AKA a thorough study, and I like that one, a thorough study. So if you want to do a data analysis, what you're going to do, you start with a thorough study. So you think about it. Okay, I got a data set. I want to find some insights, yeah, and then what should I do? And then you think about steps about you want to do. But before you go, think about things, expectations in our head, with the biases and our fallacies in our head. So to prevent to falling in some pitfalls, you should ask yourself two questions. For instance, what do I expect to see or find in the data? For instance, with the coffee shop, I will close the month and I will say, okay, you're going to do an analysis. Well, how do you, and I've worked all month, and then start with your first questions. How many customers do I have in the shop is my questions. What do I expect to find? Well, I've been there every day, so I thought, well, 100 customers a day, so 3,000 customers in the end of the month. I expect. What would I like? I like to find 5,000, because then I have a good month and I have a lot of value made in that month. With this, it will help you to that you provide yourself to step into pitfalls of your bias and your fallacies, because they are always around. And well, you see them with the elections in the US. Both sides they say something, and it's all based on, well, yeah, I saw something there, or I heard. Well, those are the things that we are have on our head with the fallacies and the biases. And there are many. Um, these are what they call the cognitive bias codex. I don't know if you have heard of it, but you see it's based on too much information, or not enough meaning, or need to fast act fast, or what you should remember, and all those things are there, and it haven't happened to everybody. For instance, the thing that I went to Italy on holiday, and people, I went to Rome, and they said, people say, yeah, be aware if you are in the airport, people are rude and are mean, and all the Italians are rude and mean. And well, I never been there. Oh, okay. I came in Italy and I bumped into somebody when I was on the airport. First people I met, and of course they were shouting. Well, you know, when Italian they can make a very very much sound and with their hands. And oh, they are really rude. And every time I saw an Italian people, my first thought, oh, this is a rude people. So that is something in your head, because you're biased with that. So in the end, of course, I came across a lot of other people, and I have changed to my opinion, because I also came across very nice people that are very friendly and kind, and so. But this is something that I am ahead, and the first people I met, they acknowledge, they saw, and they how do you say it? Well, no,
They acknowledge your bias.
acknowledge. Yes, yeah, exactly. Thanks, Maurits. You're my hero. So, and it happened to everybody. It's in your brain. You should be aware of it, and that's also with your data. If I think I want to have 3,000 customers, and the first thing I see, oh yeah, so 3,000, and I go on and I think, well, my analysis is ready, but you need to go and see. Okay, can I also disprove it? Can I see perhaps I have less customers or more customers? And that is what you have to find. So always find the two sides of the coin in your analysis. Um, Yeah, and also one thing is, of course, very important is thinking fast and slow. I don't know if anybody know this best international bestseller of Daniel Kahneman. He died no, not so long ago, and this is a great book, and it's all about our system one and two thinking. And system one thinking is about our automatically and fast thinking. So with little or no effort, you make a decision. If you go, for instance, to a supermarket and you want to buy some groceries, you pick it because you really know. But if you want to buy a house and you need a mortgage, well, that is something you have to think about and do an analysis. That is what he called system two thinking. And with system one, you say 2 + 2 is 4. It is something you don't even think about. But if I ask you 13 multiplied with 28, well, you need to think about it. And that is the thing. It's 364, by the way. But those are the things that we should be aware of, that we have these kind of systems in our head. And of course, they're not separate, but they're mainly those things that we have in our brain for making decisions. Then we go to the data analysis part. And the data analysis, we've got four common types of analysis. And the first one is descriptive. And descriptive is something about what has happened. So this is really the business intelligence part. So we have the data and we look into the data and see what has happened. And we go to diagnostic, and that is what's going on the surface. So we know that I have 4,000 customers in a month, but what has happened, which days, and what did they buy, and what did they spend, and that is what you're going to do with diagnostic. And then you got inferential, and it's one mainly on survey. So you see, what about the rest? And then you go to the part, and that is AI and Gen AI, of course, what is likely to happen next. And prescriptive is, what should we do about it? So that is the how can we look into the future about what's going on? It is really the AI and the Gen AI thing. And these kind of things you have in common types of analysis. Yeah, then I go to this lovely island. I've never been there, but I really would like to go, because one of my bucket list things. A friend of mine is now there, and we talked about it. And she was saying on a trip what she's going to do. She's going to hike and ride and all those kind of things. And this beautiful island is country is New Zealand. Um, the first discovery of it was the first European to see New Zealand was a Dutch explorer, and this one is Abel Tasman in 1642, and he sailed around this island and said, "Oh, this is New Zealand." He's coming from Zealand to the Netherlands, and he saw this is New Zealand, and this is one island. It's really great. And then a little bit later, in 1769, this guy came along, and James Cook, and he saw this little thing between the island. He said, "What is going on?" So he was the boat going through it, and you see New Zealand is not one island but two islands. And in the circle is the Cook Strait. It's named after him, but he encountered this thing. And if you look at what I have the similarity to data, always look a little bit further and see if you can see this Cook Strait in your data. So be curious. That is one thing you need to be doing if you are doing an analysis. Okay, I see one island. Oh, but what do I see there? And can I find this? Or what's happening there? And why that this happened this way? And is this happened somewhere? And all those questions you should ask yourself and be a little bit curious when you do some analytical things. So the curiosity is a good habit to have if you are doing your analysis. And then you have your analysis done, your data, and what also will help is, of course, our power of our vision. Now we are humans have a strong thing, and that is our vision, and it could help you also not only to calculate a lot of stuff, but also see patterns easily. So if you want to look further, you get some principles of data has no meaning apart from the context. You start with trust no one who cannot or will not provide the context of your figures, and stop reporting comparison between pairs, but look for a broader comparison. And that's what I am. What was I mentioning? Use graphs to present current values in context. So that helps you to get some more clarity on what you're looking at. So look for patterns. So change over time. Look for relationships. Look for intersection. Intersections are really interesting. Why? And on that point, they cross lines. Very interesting. Do something on project forward so you see, well, what can we think about what is coming the next periods. Make comparison and use some contracts in it. Drill down. I don't know. We at the bank use Power BI but also Tableau are really great on these kind of things. On drill down, we have a hierarchy. You can go down from instance from a coffee shop to coffee types to temperature, and well, yeah, there's a whole hierarchy. And the other thing is zoom out. There you go from a table to a store to a region to a country. And then you can also do some detecting of clusters and detecting of the outliers. Well, the outliers I mentioned earlier with the 3 soccer players coming to the Bankster, these are really outliers. And then you can question yourself, do I need to do something with those things? Because they're do I need to keep them in because I want to do something with it, or are they so rare and I will pick it out because then I can use calculate a good average on the rest of the population. So those are the things that can help you easily with visualizations in your analysis. Now I'll come back to the climate stripes. They collect the data and then they made a nice chart of it. And what they did, they created uh, this line chart, combined 2 lines, the annual average and the 5-year average, and they see a pattern in it because this is the strength. You see easily is going up. So they say, "Well, we have found something, but we need to do something with it because this is something we present on a different way. But also, is there something we can find what's causing this?" And I found a really interesting data set with the cause, and there's this one: the global temperature versus the number of pirates. And you see that the temperature is going up when the amount of pirates is going down. So I think we should not talk about CO2 emission or what. We need more pirates to get the temperature down. And of course, this is a joke. This is not real. But it's funny that you can do some analysis and do some correlation of causation with other data. And if you see something, don't directly say this is a cause relation effect. This is of course a silly thing, but it's happened so fast that we see these kind of charts and say, oh, the line goes up. There is a correlation between, so we need to do something about it. So this is a kind of a joke that you be aware of these kind of things. But if you are looking for causation, it is really hard. So be aware of that.
And is there,
Um,
sorry if I can, is there a
yeah.
way how you can, because I think this one you can kind of relate to each other, the pirates
Yep.
and global warming, that they're not so interrelated with one another. But
Yep.
is there a way how you can track down correlations easier? Or not? Or that's,
Well,
yeah.
it's a nice
You
question.
just realize what it is. Or
No, exactly. I asked it to a few data scientists at the bank, and they are just as quiet as I am because they could help me also with that answer. It's be aware of these and try to look further than it is. And you see sometimes also these kind of things about people are drowning and the temperature rising. So with the rise of the selling of the ice cream, you also see the number of people. The ice sales are going up and the drowning going up. And of course, there we got a causation of the weather because it's good weather, and it's not to say that the ice cream caused the people are drowning. So look further and try to dig in deeper and be aware of these effects. Yeah.
yeah. Thanks.
So this was the analysis part. Let's go to the last part, argue with data. And I think for me is the best part because this is data visualization. And like I mentioned earlier, this was my starting point. And I came at data literacy, but this is all started with me. Is my let's talk about this little red bag in the storefront. There's a nice phrase by Daniel Kahneman again. No one has ever made a decision because of a number. They need a true story, and that is the thing. But before you go to the true story, you should be aware of these kind of things. We go back. We work with data. We gathered the data and prepared it, and we stored it. So this is the first, second step of our definition. Then we did the explore. So this is the analyze with data. We analyze the data. And it's what you call explore, and then you analyze it. And the outcome of this is an insight. So you did your analyze, and you found something great. Oh, I need to share this. I need to share this with my audience, and that is the explain part. And what I want to tell you is that these are two different things, and that's not by me, because the source is the book Effective Data Storytelling by Brent Dykes. And why I like this much, because it clearly make the distinction between those two tasks. So if you look at Explore, the goal of Explore is to understand the data and what's going on, and look for the insight. But the goal for Explain is communicate. So it's completely different things. In Explore phase, who is the audience? Yeah, I am, or you are, because you're doing the analysis. When you're going to explain it, other people are the audience. When you explore it, you get very familiar with your data, because if I do the analysis of my coffee data in my coffee shop, I know exactly the amount of people, how many revenue I made, how many coffee beans, how many kilo coffee beans I sold, how many espresso, and all those kind of things. It's very familiar for me. If I'm going to explain it to people who are interested in participating in my coffee shop, they are less familiar. So I need to do something about it. When I'm exploring, I'm flexible, and I have speed. You saw the previous slides, all the chart types that are there. I start with a table, and then I make a bar chart, and then go to the line chart, and then I go scatter plot, and all those kind of things. So I'm flexible with my at that stage. But if I'm going to explain it, should be simple, clear, and a cohesive story. That is the thing. So you have a completely different angle. When you're going to explore, I don't know what is in my coffee data, because I start and I have some questions, I have some assumptions, but I want to find it. So the stories are known, and I'm going to explain it. You know the story. You know what you want to tell your audience, because you know the audience, where they are coming to your presentation, and then you prepare your story especially for your audience. And then the last thing, this is about data. In Explore, you find an insight. And when you explain it, you want to have people go to action. And I think this is the main thing why we store and produce all this data. We don't produce data because we like to store it in a nice data lake or something like that. No, we want to do something with it. It's insight. We want to take actions, because if I want people to buy into my coffee shop, I want them to come come to me. Wow, okay, how much do you need, and what do I need to pay to be a part of this great operations, and those kind of things. That is the thing you want to do. If you go to the fireman, you want to give them insights so you can take good action when he's there. How's the building like? Are there gasoline or something in the neighborhood? All those kind of things you want to help and give him the insights so that he can take proper actions. Oh, this is really a good step. Explore to explain. And then you go to explain, sorry, and then you need, of course, those visuals again. The bar chart, the line chart, ordering, part to whole, showing the difference, scatter plot, and maps, and histograms. All those things are there to show the data, and you should be aware how your how your audience is graphical literate to know. Do they know what to read? And we have a nice framework called charts. We used a little bit of we used a lot of the data visualization handbook from by Andy Kirk. And it's all about categorical data and hierarchical data, relational data, temporal data, tabular data, and spatial data. And if you go through these things, so what do you want to show? Yeah, I want to show a comparison between espresso and cappuccino. Well, then you get the categorical data, and then in the categorical cluster, there are all kind of charts that can help you to show, for instance, the bar chart or the column chart or a diverging bar or a dot plot. All those kind of things are there. On hierarchy or part to whole, yeah, you got the pie charts. You want to show, okay, I got sold 100% of my coffee. How much of that is espresso, how much is cappuccino, and all those kind of things. So that's of course the pie chart. Relation, you look, okay, is there a relation between, for instance, between a day, a certain day, and of how many people I have and how many revenue I made. And temporal, it's all things about overtime. And you want to see how things are flowing over time. And of course, the most common thing is the line chart. Tabular, yeah, a table is also a visualization. So think about that. It's all about precision and easy compare different columns. And the last one is spatial. Well, if you have, you see it, for instance, with the elections in the US, they use only spatial data to show, for instance, which state is for the Republicans or for the Democrats. So with blue and red, you see directly how that is working. This is a real good example of mapping your data. Look at the time. Okay. Well, then we go to then you have found your visual, and then you are going to a few steps, and there's also a few steps that coming from Brent Dykes, and it's all about you look your narrative, and you want to set it up right. So do you have the right data? Do you have the right visualizations? Do you have the right configuration of your visual? And then you're going to remove noise, and then you're going to focus attention, and then you make it approachable. And the last one is you instill trust in your chart. But those things you are doing when you are going to present your data. Well, I go back to the previous example of the climate stripes. This was the starting point, and of course, this is not attractive. It's efficient because you see what's happening, but this is not so you say, oh, this is what I'm going to look at. This really say something about the temperature rising. Yeah, you see it, but it's not the iconic way that we saw earlier. So they start with this, and then they did this. This is the first. This is the second step of their process. You see, they added the colors and removed the lines, and then only show the difference in temperature relative to the average. This is a little bit better, but it's not still the iconic thing. And this was the one who made it iconic. You see the overlap with the other one, but they removed everything, and just every bar is 1 year, and it's the difference between an average that they calculated to show it. And you can see directly there's something happening from the blue on the left to the red to the right. You see getting darker and darker. So it's really something you see. And of course, you need a little bit more explanation. Pictures say that more than 1,000 words, but you need to know where you look at. And if I explain this, it's really something. Oh, this is happening, and this is so iconic that you get all kind of other attributes like shirts and socks and even cars with wrapped with these kind of foley to show to make attention for this temperature rising. But this is the last part. Now you can see it, and it's just reading the argue with data, make it complete. So we start with read data. It's there's a starting point that people are reading your article or reading your visual. Then work with data. What do you need to do to gather data, to clean it, to combine it, and of course store it and manage it. Then you go to analyze data, and you go to all the stuff. And the main thing is there: be curious, look a little bit further, look for the cook straight in your data. That is mainly the thing. And the last part is the argue with data. Oh, I even don't mention the red bag. If you look at this picture, you see the red bag directly, and you pay attention to that point that is emphasizing the data that you want to show. So you see directly on the right hand side that little red bag and all the data that is paying attention to that data. Well, if you want to know more, this is of course a part of a training. And what you can do with it is you can get a certification of this training. If you do it, you can do the certification exam, and you get the certification. This is about the training, but I want to finish then with are there any questions? We have a few minutes left. Are there any questions about the topics I showed?
Yeah, thank you. In the meantime, Ben, before questions might come in, now a popular subject, of course, is AI. Also, the AI Act is coming up, and for example, the AI Act requires that organizations invest or make sure that their employees are data literate. can you maybe elaborate or explain what is the difference between data literacy and AI literacy? In what sense do they relate to each other, or are they different from one another?
Well, I think they overlapping because I showed a few examples with the picture about AI, what it can do and where you should look at. And this is that, of course, if you do working with AI, you will not directly work with the data as you are a consumer of AI. You're going to use ChatGPT. You don't know exactly what sources you use, and you don't have to prepare it. If you are making models to provide for ChatGPT, yeah, of course you need to know you work with data, so you work with that. So you need to know the quality of the data, and of course the privacy rules and all those kind of things. So yeah, it depends on which part you are at the ChatGPT or the AI parts, Gen AI parts. If you're really a consumer of ChatGPT, you don't work with the data, but you do the analysis. So I think analysis is not a very strong point yet, but you see it. For instance, if you look in Power BI, you see the Copilot in Power BI coming, that it will do an analysis on your data. So, well, those analysis steps that I provided are also handy for that. So yeah, I think if you making models, then you do the work with data, and then you be aware of all those steps, like the biases and all those kind of things. And if you are on the last part, I think the analyze and argue with data part are really interesting.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for answering that question. I could talk about it for several hours, but I'll go to smaller questions. So if you can see the screen, here's a question from Peter Hoekstra. Hi, Peter. Great that you're in. So I think you mentioned them, Ben, but could you briefly again repeat some principles to speak fluent data?
Principle to speak fluent data. Yeah. Well, there are two principles: be aware and be curious. And I think those are the most important things. So if you know that charts, because I saw some charts with the elections too, where you know the principles of how to read a good chart. That is one thing. And be curious for your analysis, but also with your work with data, be curious. So what you have in and we're working with. So those are the most important things.
Yeah, thank you. I hope that answers your question, Peter.
Yeah.
And so here we got another question from Claudia. When storing data with a visualization purpose, are there certain best practices or design structures for the different categories?
Yeah, the funny thing is, for instance, for Power BI, because I know I work with that, we create star models to help working that Power BI can work the best way with a star model for performance, but also for calculations. So that is the best way for if you want to make those kind of things. A star model is one of the things that you can help easily work with your tool to make all kind of visualizations. Is that what you mean, Claudia?
We give her some time to respond in the chat.
Yeah.
I personally don't know the star model, but I can.
It's all about facts and dimensions, but that is also a part of the Dharma training, Maurits.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for the advice. Indeed, we got a question where we can find the training. Well, I'll answer it in the chat. And indeed, Peter's response on his question, what are some good principles, was to summarize, be aware and be curious. What you indeed mentioned, and that's a good one-liner also. Claudia responds that the answer on her question, so that what you gave as an answer, what are best practices for data visualization, that it's kind of an answer. So you see, understands partially. So follow training. That's your, or go to the. Well, we have a booklet available there.
But otherwise, Claudia, you know where to find me. You can otherwise make contact via LinkedIn, for instance, and then we can have a chat.
Yeah.
But that's also for everybody else. We have questions. Go to LinkedIn and send me a direct message, and we can have some chat about it. So.
Yeah, Perfect. Okay, Ben. Then I think we passed the time already. So thank you very
Yeah.
much for your for the chat, Ben. I think it was very good and qualitative session. Thank you for your time. Yeah, we'll do a ending video for those still present. Feel free to watch. And have a good day, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
We at the Van Haren Group believe that organizations can benefit from shared knowledge and experiences, and we try to help them to do so. We are an independent, worldwide recognized content provider in management best practices and standards, well known for its flexibility and years of experience. Our education partners offer specialized training using our books, courseware, e-learnings, and exams. These partners play a crucial role in delivering high-quality education to professionals, leveraging our products to ensure comprehensive and effective learning experiences. At Van Haren Group, we're more than just a publisher. Our unwavering commitment to quality, passion, trust, fairness, and forward-thinking drives everything we do. We are dedicated to empowering professionals and organizations worldwide to achieve their goals and thrive in today's dynamic landscape. Dream, learn, and achieve with Van Haren Group.
Do you want to apply a best practice yourself and maybe leverage our services? Do get in contact with us. We are more than happy to advise how to take the next step.